Coach, talk about kind of an unusual circumstance of today, not having that party that we were all expecting.
Yeah, I think that was disappointing for everyone. You know, we had done it. We were going to move it to Gill, so it was going to be a new experience. You know, normally we've been in one of the levels in Reeser Stadium with all our, you know, I mean, Beaver Nation supports us so well. It's been such a great atmosphere in there, but we were going to use the video board. I mean, it was going to be a great time in there. It was all set up, and then to get, while I'm doing film today with the team, you know, we're getting text messages to our staff in the back of the room, and as soon as it was over, they said, well, they've canceled, you know, the selection show because they've moved it up. And so curveball, you know, but what can you do? You can't control it. And so for coaches, we got to find out a couple hours earlier, which allows you to prep a little early. So for us, it was great, you know, but we did miss out on being with our fans, which is, of course, disappointing.
How did the team react?
I don't know. I didn't tell them. I was already working on Boise State. And so I found out, I did some stuff, and then I think our assistants told them, and then they watched the show. You know, I went in and saw our part with them.
I know.
So
Sorry.
they handled it well from what I could tell.
Obviously, the expectation was you were going to host, but just to know you're hosting and see that, how nice was that?
Amazing. I mean, it's always nice just to see your name anyway, you know, let alone, even when, you know, we've won the automatic, you know, it's nice to see your name on that bracket. And so it was great to see, and then to see that we were hosting. I figured we would, but you don't ever know until it's up there. So that was a relief. We felt like we should, for sure. I thought we could be a 3 seed even, based upon the others that were. I thought we were compared well with the 3 seeds. And so you can't control it, though. And so great to be home. You know, and obviously we've got great teams coming in here. And so it'll be great to be back in front of Beaver Nation next Saturday.
How do you feel about your regional overall?
It's tough. I mean, it's tough. I know I've been watching Gordy's teams play since he was at Seattle Pacific. So my entire career, you know, Gordy Presnell has been a great coach in the Northwest. And so he, and I know his assistant especially well, Cody Butler, you know, they do a phenomenal job. And so they're an excellent team. You know, and then you've got Gonzaga on the other side of it coming in, and they've had a phenomenal year as well. Another very well coached team, a conference champion in the regular season, and then had a couple, you know, unfortunate injuries that probably cost them that tournament championship, you know. And so just those two in particular. I don't know, is it Little Rock?
Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't know them as well, but I know their conference is tough.
How do you, just out of curiosity, I mean, do you at all start looking at film at that second game, or do you not touch that until this first game?
I put that on our staff, you know, so that we have all our bases covered, but I have 40 minutes. There's only 40 minutes that I care about right now.
What's the strength of the Broncos?
I haven't watched, Ron, but I know they're well coached. I know they shoot the ball well, and so I'm excited to get to work on them.
Being at home, it's going to be great, but you've also said you can't lean on that. Anything you tell the girls to kind of not take this first game for granted there?
Well, I think after our last experience, I don't think that's going to be an issue. You know, I think this group has grown so much this year through, you know, a lot of great experiences and some adversity as well. You know, I think the team, what this team's done is phenomenal. I mean, you replace a point guard, you replace a center. I don't care what their resumes are coming in until you're here in the Pac-12. There's nothing that truly prepares you for it. And in reality, we had a freshman, first-year player basically in both spots, even though Joe's a senior, a JC senior and a transfer senior, and Destiny is, you know, a redshirt sophomore playing her first year in the Pac-12. To do what we've done is remarkable. And if you look at what it's taken to beat us, that speaks to this team as well. And so they've brought a big-time effort every night. It's taken special performances every single time to beat us. 3 of our losses are to top 5 RPI teams, and 6 of them, of the 7, are to 5 seeds or better. I mean, that's a remarkable year. And so through that, this team has gained so much experience that I think, just like every Pac-12 team, we're all ready. Every team's ready for the NCAA tournament to play well.
You'll have had 2 weeks in between games, and I know sometimes you worry about the rust, but in this case, is it good that maybe they just were able to get away for a little bit and refresh?
Well, I would tell you, yeah, I think the break has been good, and I'll tell you the reason. It has nothing to do with probably what you're thinking coming off our last game. It has everything to do with the last 9 games of the Pac-12 schedule.
Oh, that's what it was
yeah, okay. That was the most intense stretch since I've been here. To go to the Bay, come home and have the Civil War, which was obviously at a different level of everything that it's ever been, to have it was so emotional. Then to have a short week and get ready for senior weekend, which is the LA schools, and then to head down to ASU in Arizona. So the weakest team that we saw during that stretch, they're all top 40, was Arizona on their place. And that's a bubble team in the tournament, you know, and so it was such a grind, you know, going into the Pac-12 tournament. You know, and I don't think anybody could know what toll that took, but I know I was tired, you know, and this is what I live for. I don't get tired, you know, this time of year. And so if I'm tired, they're tired, you know, and this team had to grind so hard to overcome some of that inexperience that the week off this past week, you know, where we got to catch our breath, coaches were all gone recruiting. I think it was perfect.
In regards to that grind, did some of that maybe impact the three-point shooting that's kind of fallen off in the last 8 or 9 games?
I don't know. I think that has everything to do with who we're playing too. You know, we certainly missed shots in Vegas that we normally make. I mean, that was an aberration, I would say. I think it has a lot to do with who we're playing and how well we're scouted, how well the conference is coached, and how well you have to play defense in this league. You know, so I'd give most of the credit to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
How important were these player-only practices this past week?
Well, we'll find out. But I thought it was perfect. That was just a thought that I had. We could have left people home, and I chose not to. And I think this time of the year, it's the players' voices are the most important. Certainly, we can push buttons and we can direct, and we need to. I mean, that's our job as coaches to put them in position to be successful. But every great team I've coached, the most powerful voices this time of the year have come from within the locker room. That interior leadership is the most vital this time of year. And so the more their voices are heard, the better. Even today's practice, they came up with the plan, and we directed it and coached it, of course, but it was their thoughts, and it was their ideas, and they chose each segment today. We'll keep that up, you know, through the tournament as much as I can.
Did you like what you saw out of them today? You know, having that break, and even though they did kind of do some of that, you guys just directing, did you like kind of the energy and stuff that they brought getting ready for this weekend?
Oh, yeah. Loved it. Yeah, it's a great group, you know, and so anytime you lose, there's a healing process that has to happen. It's almost like there's a counseling session you have to go through to get your minds corrected and right and get back on the same page and remember, you know, who you are and get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. And so we had a good talk before practice today, but then once it was on, it was back on. Everything was normal.
Having somebody on your team like Katie with the tournament experience she has, how important is that going to be in the locker room during this run?
Yeah, vital. I mean, I challenged her today to speak up even more, you know, because of that. She's been through every war. She's hung banners in this gym. She's played on the biggest stage and played big on the biggest stage Oregon State's ever been on. You know, so we need to capitalize on that, you know, and her teammates are hungry to hear from her, you know, for sure. I mean, she's got the wisdom, the knowledge, and the experience. And so the more Katie talks, the better for everyone.
Was part of the reason to kind of encourage those players-only practices. I got the sense in the locker room after that Washington game that they just wanted to get right back out on the court. to maybe that was their best medicine. Did you get that sense from them?
They're amazing competitors, you know, so yeah. I mean, we didn't spend a lot of time together after that, but that was the vibe in the locker room. Nobody was real happy, you know, after that. And so give Washington all the credit in the world. They played huge. You know, I thought on that stage, it was a great performance by them. You know, it was not our best. However, they beat us, you know, because they took advantage of every mistake we made, and we made too many. And so I think when you have a game, you know, it's one thing. I felt like down at Oregon in the Civil War, I felt like we played pretty good. You know, that was the loss of the year, even the Notre Dame game. Those two games in particular, I thought we played well. We just got beat. We weren't quite ready to win either game at that point. The Washington loss did not have that feeling. It had just a bad feeling, actually. It was like that was not our best. You know, and so anytime you have that, it motivates you one way or the other. It discourages you to a point where you want to quit, or you take it and say that's fuel. That's not happening again. And I think this team, well, I know this team is taking it that way, you know, and so especially yeah. So it's going to be helpful moving forward.
And a quick reminder that if you don't play your best, and that's kind of an important message at this time.
It's do or die. It's do or die. Yeah, and so a year ago we had the same lesson, you know, turned it into a positive. I think that's silly to need that again, you know, but every team's different, every journey's different. And so for this team, you know, just one last reminder going into this tournament that matters the most, you know, on any given night, anybody can get you. So you better be at your best. You know, so they'll use it well.
Destiny said something that I thought was interesting in that she said, you know, I just asked her kind of when the shot's not falling, you know, how to approach the offense. And she said, my job is to make everybody feel like they can hit their shot or they can feel confident. Do you feel like that was what she came in with, or is that leadership sort of quality something she developed this year?
Yeah, I think she's evolved in that. I think this year's been interesting for her. You know, that the first year you get into this conference has a mental component to it that I think is unique. I've been told that. I haven't coached in another Division I conference than this one, but I know that there's a mental component at 9 years in here that is different. Teams are coached at a level where you're playing into your weaknesses most nights for 40 minutes. That's hard. So for somebody who is athletic enough to do what she wants to do, go where she wants to go, all of a sudden to have to play through weaknesses, it's hard. Now we've seen her overcome a lot of those things. Her thought process is more accurate because she has experience to lean on now. And so now she can speak confidence into others because she knows what she's doing now. You know, for a lot of the season, she wasn't able to. She was just in survival mode, you know, and I feel like she's turned a corner on both ends of the floor to where she's just more consistent herself, which allows her, you know, to challenge others and to speak confidence into them. And she's got the ability to deliver the ball, you know, on time and get people the ball in their strengths.